Have you ever tried to connect with someone, but it feels like they're just not there? Maybe they say they care, but their actions don't show it. Or you'll open up and they will shut down. Today, we're talking about how to recognize and deal with emotionally unavailable people without losing your mind or your sense of self. Welcome to We Are All Fine, Flawed, Insecure, Nervous, and Emotional. I'm Heidi, a counsellor and psychotherapist with decades of experience. So welcome to episode 22. And in this episode, we're going to be getting honest about what it feels like to love or care about someone who just can't meet you where you're at emotionally, and how you can stop getting hurt by their silence or their avoidant behaviour. Now, some people just aren't emotionally available, no matter how much you care, how patient you are, or how many chances you give. Now, when I've just said that to you, who comes to your mind? Is it a partner, a friend, a family member maybe? And let me ask you now, just to take a moment to think about how this impacts you and your friendship or your relationship with this person. How does this make you feel? And I'm going to guess it's going to cause you some level of distress, upset and frustration if this person can't match you emotionally. Let's break down what we mean by emotionally unavailable. So we're talking about somebody who struggles to connect with their own emotions or with yours. It means they're going to find it very hard to show up emotionally for themselves and for others. The characteristics I'm aware of with emotionally unavailable people include they'll have difficulty talking about feelings and emotions. There'll be a lack of closeness and emotional intimacy. They'll have a real difficulty to understand and relate to others. They'll be defensive when they're asked to change or let others in. They'll have a tendency to shut down and avoid topics that might require some emotional connection, or they'll definitely withdraw from people or situations that provoke emotional reactions. What stops people being emotionally there for others and for themselves? Let's look at the root causes of some of what might be going on for them. It could be due to past trauma or abuse, or an insecure attachment style with the early childhood experiences, if they've not developed an emotional intimacy or connection with their parents or people who cared for them. There may be a fear of vulnerability. Some people just don't want to get hurt or rejected, or will become so overwhelmed by their emotions they'll have to avoid them. Maybe down to learned behaviour. If you've not had your emotions discussed or validated, you're going to be learned to be detached from them. Or maybe the current stressors could be causing them not to be available to themselves or to you. All emotionally unavailable people will have bouts of anxiety and depression, but usually unknown to them because they will be so unaware of their feelings. Anxiety is about fear, and fear is one of the root causes of an emotionally unavailable person. Fear of intimacy, fear of being overwhelmed, fear of being hurt, fear of being judged. They could have a rational fear of death, or a fear of being exposed as less than who they portray themselves to be. This emotional unavailability can create distance, frustration, and misunderstanding in relationships. And this cycle will intensify feelings of the anxiety we've just been talking about, and resentment and loneliness, making it really difficult for the relationship to grow or thrive. So if you're thinking about the unemotional person in your life, why are you sticking around them? As a counsellor and psychotherapist, I would sum it up in 3 words: safe, hope, and fear. Before I break that down for you, though, let's pause for the counsellor's question, which aligns with today's topic of not feeling emotions. Now, this listener did ask to remain confidential, but the question was, I always feel empty. Is there something wrong with me? Thank you for taking the time to reach out. And I've got total empathy for you. Being stuck, feeling empty can make us question, of course, what's wrong with me? And I've worked with many young people who felt like this, and I felt like this as well during my life. Now, counsellors, we do not diagnose our clients, so I'm not going to do that here, but I thought about emotional detachment when I read this. Emotional detachment does refer to people being disconnected or disengaged from the feelings of other people. They will feel empty and they won't be able to connect to anybody else, hence the lack of empathy. Now, it can sometimes occur as a coping mechanism when people are faced with stressful or difficult situations, or in other cases, this emotional detachment can be a symptom of a mental health condition. If you think that's what's going on, you will need to seek some professional help. But here are a number of signs and symptoms that I know are related to emotional detachment. You'll be ambivalent towards other people, avoiding those people, situations, or activities. You'll have difficulty opening up. You'll feel disconnected. You'll lose interest in people and activities. You won't pay attention to others. And maybe your listening skills will be quite poor. You're probably going to prefer to be alone to avoid all the noise and the chaos that comes with that emotional interaction. You're more than likely going to have problems forming and maintaining relationships. And you're probably going to struggle to feel positive emotions, feeling quite low, empty and distressed. Your emotional range may be limited for many reasons. Your upbringing, your experience of friends, school, college, uni relationships. You might also be suppressing your emotions as they might feel too hard to let up, let out and deal with. If problems with feeling or expressing emotions have caused issue in your personal life, you really might want to seek out treatment or other support. Now, counselling is definitely going to help. Speaking to your GP will, I know, but please know it's a really common way of feeling empty, and I've shared maybe why this might be happening, and I hope you've got some kind of answer today, and thank you once again for getting in touch. You can all email me, Heidi we are all fine at gmail.com, or you can contact me over all the social media platforms. Okay, so back to why you might be staying with that person in your world who is not emotionally available to you. It's going to be familiar, isn't it? We know familiarity makes us feel safe. So if you've grown up around people who weren't available to you, it's going to feel normal. You might not consciously like it, but I bet your nervous system has got used to it. So when someone gives you the mixed signals, maybe hot and cold, emotionally distant, it's going to feel safe, a bit like home, even if it does hurt. Now, you're going to possibly have, which many people do, the hope for potential. So if somebody in your life isn't there, and maybe in one or two of those moments they are, those moments you are going to keep hold of because they're powerful. They were going to keep you hooked. If you're emotionally invested in this person, and yes, you've seen a glimpse of them being emotionally on your level, you're going to be waiting for more. So you might have thought to yourself, if I just love them better, they'll finally open up. Now, this is a hell of an emotional roller coaster. It's not all bad and it might all work out for you, but you're going to have hope that that person will meet you where you need them to be. You might be hanging around because you might have a low self-worth, not thinking you're worthy of a consistent, healthy love and affection. So you're going to be settling for somebody who gives you just enough to keep you going and to keep you hoping. The less love you receive, the more you're going to start blaming yourself. Now think about your attachment style. If you've got anxious attachment styles, these emotionally unavailable partners are going to trigger that chase. You're going to want closeness, they'll pull away, and that dynamic, believe me now, becomes addictive to you. You're going to start working harder and harder to prove you're lovable while they remain distant. Now, I don't think that's love. I think that's activation, but it can feel the same in your body. Let's think about shame and guilt. You might feel really bad for leaving someone who hasn't actually done anything technically wrong, especially if they've given you a little bit of themselves or they've told you about their drama or their personal stuff. You won't want to abandon them as well, so you're going to abandon yourself instead. If that's playing out for you, start to analyse and reflect on that shame and that guilt and whether or not there's a way you can put that aside to make the decision based on what you need to have a healthy relationship if this isn't serving you. And lastly, you might be frightened of being alone, and I don't mean that in an unkind way. We are bred to be around other people in communities, and we all want that fear of belonging and connection. So if you are scared of being alone for whatever reason, even painful connection is going to feel better than none at all. And the idea of starting over, facing loneliness, or not knowing what comes next, that can be terrifying, can make us all feel really scared and keep us stuck with the familiar. So you're going to hang around in those situations and those relationships that are emotionally empty because the unknown feels scarier than what we know. You're just going to put up with it. I hope I hope episode 2 is helping you so far. We know what causes people to be unemotionally available. We know how it can make us feel and why we hang around with those people. And we've learnt about the characteristics and the anxiety that the emotional unavailable people or persons in your life may feel. So let me tell you now 5 steps to reach that emotionally unavailable person. And I really hope these are going to work for you. Number 1, tell the person you'd like to have an open conversation about how you've been feeling, and share that this conversation is important to you and you need to carve out a time that works for you both with no distractions. Number 2, now start the conversation by expressing your feelings and needs. Now, for example, I have been noticing disconnection in our relationship and it sometimes makes me feel distant from you. I'd really like to talk about it. There is no blame here. There is you reaching out to that person using iMessages and asking them to meet you in the middle to share how you're feeling and to listen to how they're feeling as well. Number 3, emphasize that they are not to blame. You can share what you've learned today about the reasons they might not be emotionally available, or even better, send the link of this show to them. Number 4, ask how you can support them. Let them know how much you care for them and that you want to feel a closer bond in the relationship. So a simple question, how can I make this better for you? That's what they're going to want to hear. Number 5, remember that the rest is up to you. All of the steps above are steps that are in your control. You can't heal for them. What you can do is be knowledgeable, understanding, and patient. And if none of this works for you, is it time to step back from this unemotional, available person in your life and ask yourself what you want now? Remember, their emotional distance is not a reflection of your worth. The focus should be on your needs and your feelings. Be patient but firm. And don't let their emotional unavailability become a pattern that you enable. Every time you stop chasing somebody who won't meet you emotionally, you're making room for someone else who will. And I promise you that person will come around. And people who are emotionally safe feel different. They listen without rushing in. They'll check in with you. They'll care when you're quiet or distant yourself, and they will show up, not always when you want them to, or not always perfectly, but they will be consistent in their approach. And you deserve that. Now, that was a full show, and we've chatted about the emotionally unavailable people in your life, how they behave and how it could feel for you. And I've shared some ways you can try and reach out, but it's not an easy quick fix. Do know that. It's up to you to decide how this person fits in your life and how you can manage their unavailability. And if this show has spoken to you and you're unemotionally available to yourself and it's something you want to change, please reach out to me, HeidiWeAreAllFine@gmail.com, and I can send you some resources and some tips, some links for more information that's going to support you. Now, episode 23 is going to be for you if you want to break your negative thought cycle. You cannot stop thinking negative. That's impossible. So I'm going to share 4 very simple and quick ways for you to break your negative and unhelpful thinking spiral. I've shared it with clients for years. I know they work. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss anything. I do post videos daily on all social media platforms, so join me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook and YouTube. Your company, as ever, is important to me, as is all your feedback. We are all flawed, insecure, nervous and emotional, but always remember, be yourself. You are no one else. Until next time, you take good care. Finally, some important takeaways. The podcast is for informational use only and should not be used as a substitution for professional advice or for personal diagnosis. These opinions are personal and I do not guarantee the accuracy of such opinions or information. I'm not intending to create a counselling relationship with you, and you should always consult a qualified mental health professional with any concerns.